What do all of these things have in common? Protein. Today, I want to talk to you guys about how you can grow protein in your garden. Hey friends, it's Jen at the Sunshine Farm. This year I am planting a lot of new varieties, and one thing I'm really trying to jump into is planting protein. So things like beans and lentils and peas and soy, even quinoa and spinach have a lot of protein. So I'm planting all of these things this year. I'm sure many of them won't do very well, but I'm excited for the future that all of these things will mean, whether it's making things like homemade soy milk or grains like quinoa and amaranth. I'm even trying rice this year. Even potatoes are packed with protein. So I'm really excited about all of these things we're growing because I think there's just such a common misconception that if you're plant-based or if you're vegan or vegetarian that you need to get protein. We actually as Americans get a whole lot more protein than we really need. And Chris and I have never had an issue with protein. But nonetheless, I really want to show you guys how you can actually get a lot of really nutritious plant-based protein in the garden. And I'm excited to share this with you. So let's just talk about a few of the things we're growing this year. I'm going to show you at the end planting one of these things in the garden today. And I also have some little seedlings coming up right now that I'm really looking forward to, and I'll show you guys those as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So what proteins are we planning on growing in the garden? The first is peas and lentils. These guys are in the same family. We have some dwarf snow peas, and I already planted these guys just a couple weeks ago, and I'm just waiting for them to come on up. We're also doing lentils, and so we're doing two different kinds of lentils, Spanish brown and French green. And these guys are heirloom seeds. They do better in cooler climates. We actually should have some success growing them here because our summers don't get all that hot. But we're gonna see, it's totally a trial year with lentils. And if they don't grow, well then maybe I'll just have to barter lentils for things like soy from somebody across the country. So lentils are a great source of protein. Lentils make an amazing base for a soup. I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm excited to try all sorts of different ways to cook and prepare lentils. A couple different grains that we're growing that have protein in them, and I believe rice does as well, but I didn't grab that one for my seed collection. So we are growing amaranth this year, and we're also growing quinoa. These two crops you generally have to grow a fair amount of in order to actually get a decent harvest, but I hope eventually that we can really just expand our garden space, that we can do that we can plant tons of quinoa and tons of amaranth and really have enough grains for Chris and I and future kiddos that might join the family. We have peas so far, we have lentils, we have amaranth, and we have quinoa, and I'm even growing rice. Let's talk about a couple more things that I'm growing. Things that are packed with protein, and you probably know where I'm going with this one. Beans. Beans are a great source of protein and super good for you. A lot of people think that beans can be hard on the digestive system. There's actually a way that you can sprout legumes before cooking them or preparing them for a meal, and they're much easier on the digestive system that way. We're also doing soybean. Soybean has a bad rap, kind of like potatoes, right? Because they're just thought of as lacking a lot of nutrition. I think a lot of this isn't from the soy itself, but actually the way we grow it here in the US. We tend to grow GMO soybean inorganically, mass production, and we're growing varieties that are not matching the way the crop was initially designed. So I'm really excited because I'm growing soybeans here, heirloom organic soybeans, and I think they're going to be really different in terms of how they affect our health and just the amount of nutrients in those soy. Because if you think about it, plants absorb nutrients from the soil. So if you are filling your soil with a lot of nutrients and you're treating your soil well, those plants are going to be much healthier and packed with a lot more nutrients. So you're going to see a big difference in terms of tofu that you might buy at the store or tofu that you make at home with homegrown soybean. Now on top of the black beans and the soybean, we're also growing all different kinds of beans. This one right here is Scarlet Emperor. It's a pole runner bean, and it climbs as it grows, and it's just beautiful. So you can eat it as green beans, or you can let the pods dry out and you can cook out the beans later. A couple more fun things to share with you guys. Spinach. Spinach is a great source of protein and iron and all sorts of wonderful things. I just direct seeded some spinach a few days ago, so hoping it comes up soon. It can be a tricky crop to grow because it likes cool weather, and so if your spring jumps to summer really quick, you can have a hard time with spinach. But there's actually a variety of spinach called Asian spinach that can handle warmer temperatures. So if you're looking for the goodness of spinach but you don't have the cool weather and you don't have a long enough spring or fall, try Asian spinach. Maybe it works for you guys. And the last thing I'm so excited about, peanuts. Now we have 2 different peanuts we're trying out this year, and peanuts are traditionally thought of as a southern crop because they really like heat. But here in New York we have a company called Fruition Seeds that works to adapt crops to the northern climate and really test things out in the northern climate to make sure that they work before selling them to consumers. So these are 2 varieties that I got a hold of from that wonderful company, and I'm really excited to grow them. These are super simple because you just direct sow them in the ground, and then actually at the end of the season you pull them up and the peanuts are growing all along the roots, just like potatoes would. So those are a few things that we're growing this year in terms of protein, and I'm really excited about it, mostly because there's so many different kinds of things, and a lot of these things I don't traditionally see grown in backyard gardens. So I'm gonna just show you guys this one grain that we are growing that I'm really excited about. Okay guys, so over here, our DIY grow shelves are very empty right now because most of the plants are outside. But I do have some starts in here that are just coming up. See these guys right here? That is quinoa. And then over here we got some rice. Look at that little baby rice. I also got some sesame, chia, and rosemary that hasn't quite come up yet. The other thing I wanted to show you guys is this right here. It might not look like a lot, but it's a start. This was the soy that I saved last year from our soy crop. And I'm actually going to be going and making some soy milk following a recipe from one of my favorite cookbooks called The Vegan Pantry. It's an amazing cookbook. It's really simple recipes all about different staples you can make for your home, things like bread and pasta, soy milk, tempeh, tofu, all these things that I'm hoping that we can make here at the Sunshine Farm. It's perfect if you're plant-based like we are, if you're vegetarian or vegan, because a lot of these things, if you buy them at the store, they're full of additives and preservatives. If you're really looking for that natural lifestyle, it's so important to be connected with the process and try making some of these things yourself at home. So I'm going to be making some soy milk with this soybean, and I think we just have enough to be able to make a good amount. This is the book I was telling you guys about by Miyoko, I think it's Shinner. Miyoko has this amazing non-dairy cheese company that you can get at all sorts of grocery stores, and they're nut-based and coconut-based cheeses, and they're really delicious, guys. If you have lactose intolerance, if you avoid dairy for ethical reasons or environmental reasons, or maybe you just want to try a healthier cheese alternative. So this is the creamy soy milk that I'm going to be making with our homegrown soybean. I'll have to share a video all about this later because I might epically fail. Come on outside with me, let's plant some lentils, and I'll show you guys how easy it really is to grow your own protein in the garden. Right now, I'm about to plant some lentils, and lentils are like peas, so you're planting them before the last frost when it's still early spring as soon as that ground can be worked, but the ground's not too wet that you drown your seeds. So you can see our ground here is nice and wet. And I've spent some time prepping this bed to be planted. It might look a little strange, but what I'm doing here is I put all the wood chips aside to reveal the soil underneath, making sure that I didn't mix the wood chips in with the soil. And then I dug kind of just a little mini trench so I can go ahead and plant these seeds an inch deep in the trench. This is a first year bed, so a lot of the soil isn't nice and aerated enough, so that's why I want to add the nice loose compost on top so those plants have a chance to come on up. This one's 100 days, this one's 115 days. We're doing French green lentil and Pardina lentils Spanish brown. Both of these are heirloom varieties. I got them from Annie's Heirloom Seeds. They're organic. They're pretty cool. I'm really excited about lentils. I like lentil soup. I like lots of other lentil things. I'm gonna go ahead and get these lentils planted. Instead of just having traditional row planting, I'm gonna stagger the lentils so that I can get more in one space. So I'll show you what I'm gonna do right now with the French green lentils. See these little lentils? Looks just like what you eat, right? Here, let's see if I can do. Ah!
What?
I just dropped a bunch of them.
Oh no, I don't want them there.
Be very careful when you are holding seeds, because you can drop them and not see where they land. Luckily these aren't carrot seeds, so I can kind of see them. Whoops! Walking is hard. Ugh. And then what I'm gonna do is in the middle between the mini rows, I'm gonna plant some beets and radishes, maybe even some carrots, because those things will mature before these lentils are really big. Well, the lentils are planted, they should be coming up soon, and it was so fun talking to you guys about how to grow plant-based protein. So thank you for being here, and I can't wait to share my next video with you guys. Bye, friends.